Morning, everyone. Namaskara from Bengaluru. Thank you so much for the Takasaki panel. I think that was very informative from their side. Up here, we have a bunch of panel members who are young, enthusiastic, and energetic to talk about AI for social good from Bengaluru.
Hello, I am Rihaan. I am eighth grader.
Hi, I'm Sneha, and I'm studying engineering third year.
Myself, Tarun. I'm studying second year engineering.
Myself, Sohan. I'm studying second year engineering as well.
That was a great round of introductions. My name is Aviram. I'll be the moderator for today's panel discussion. Starting off, we're going to be talking about AI for social good. So, guys, I just want to ask you, you already know about social issues in India and Bangalore and everywhere around India, like rural India and stuff. What do you think would be an innovative way to use AI to help rural people build better hospitals and healthcare facilities?
Do I have to start?
Yeah,
Can anyone else start?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think with respect to AI in rural places, um, it is developing, but it's not to an extent where how cities have the authority over a few things. I feel like when it comes to health and when it comes to health overall in general, people should not be biased on where they stay. Everybody should have the equal opportunity of accessing healthcare. So I think one of the major things can be, I think rural people are very foreign to the term AI, or they think that they don't trust AI as much as uh, how the city people trust. Maybe it's because of the education gap, or I don't know what the bridge is. But then I feel like if AI is more human and more, uh, if they're able to trust it more, I think it'll be a better opportunity. Um,
Um, so, for talking about AI in rural areas and hospitals, how it's going to help them. AI is generally used for testing grounds. So you put a situation in front of AI, and it'll react based on the situation. So you can just put endless number of situations on how you're going to improve rural areas or the areas which come under rural areas, and you see if it is getting improved or not, and then you just take those statistics and see if the highest statistic possible, and then again you take that scenario and try to implant it in rural people mind and hospitals and building all of it. So AI generally helps in kind of improving based on the situation, and AI is like a testing ground. According to me, AI doesn't come directly, rather it's a testing ground for me.
It's nice to know that you say it's a testing ground, but what do you think would be like a good solution from your mind in the near future to leverage the power of AI?
uh, didn't get you, can you repeat once?
I mean to say, since you're saying that AI might be a testing ground for rural healthcare facilities, do you have any innovative ideas on how we can leverage the power of AI so that it could actually be implemented?
uh, I would say that right now the AI is not that developed to work on its own. It obviously needs inputs, and so without inputs, you won't get AI. So we have to develop the AI enough that the inputs and all the data sets are already present, so that you don't have to work more on data sets rather direct solutions.
Got it. Okay.
So my input to the question was how AI can be used in rural areas and how they could have easy access to hospitals and all for healthcare. So one thing is AI. One, you have AI chatbots, or you have AI where people, and in rural areas you do not have easy access to doctors and healthcare centers. So how AI can play a role is, people, if they feel like they need help and they need access to, they need to go look for a doctor, instead of just going far distance to just meet a doctor, using taking so much time, they could let's use AI. They could like give inputs based on what they're feeling, and based on that input, based on the previously collected data from the AI, like AI works on data you provide, right? And AI learns from it. So based on the data you give, AI can assess you, provide you a solution, and if there is something really urgent, then it can suggest you to go actually look for a doctor. It could recommend you a specialist too. So in that case, AI can help rural people for better healthcare centers and all those things. And you can have AI assess X-rays, image analyzing, and all those things. So that also can be a second point. Third one is you can have AI support in developing new medicines based on the information. So these 3 points I had in mind regarding the solution.
That's nice to know.
So about the question you asked, I was going to say something similar to what he said, that AI could be used to, how to say, when the person gives the whatever they're feeling, AI could use that input, and depending on the information that it has, it could diagnose the patient with whatever illness it possibly could have. We're not sure if that could be true or not, because there are countless illnesses it could be, and the patient wouldn't know what illness it would be. Also, another thing would be that a doctor should be able to talk to the person online, and if there was an AI with the in the rural area, the AI could get the symptoms, and when the doctor receives the symptoms, the doctor could do a professional diagnosis of what it could actually be. Yeah, that's it.
I think those were really great inputs from all of you. Moving on, we also know that, healthcare facilities and healthcare is not the only issue that we deal with in rural India or India as such. One of the major issues we face is also, like, the way the education system is based right now, and how, the rote method of learning is going about. So do you think with the advancements of AI right now, like ChatGPT, Gemini, and many more LLMs coming up, do you think that they can help in the process of innovating a better curriculum for education, or making it better for kids to learn in a different manner? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I think AI can make education make a better education system, because usually some teachers don't realize where the children have problems in certain subjects. But with AI, if they give a quiz on a certain subject and the results come back, the AI will instantly recognize where the child is going wrong with in which part of the subject, and could help them understand in depth about that part of the subject, so that the student will be able to understand the subject more clearly. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, so I feel there is students are of diverse kinds. So not everybody learns at the same pace or at the same or the same way. So few students are visual learners, few are or based on audio, and few are works on. Uh, so I feel like um, AI will be able to help students of all categories, irrespective of where they fall under. Now, and syllabus like how it used to be in like few years back. Syllabus doesn't have to be the same way anymore. Anybody can learn anything with AI, like irrespective of their age, and the knowledge is accessible more easily and more in a more fun way, I feel. For example, if you take Duolingo, the whole syllabus is gamified. Like you keep going back to the app in order to learn, and like I feel like it motivates you to to stick to a certain way of studying. Like especially for me, I feel like once I've started, like I'm learning French from Duolingo, and I feel like I if I don't study my syllabus or no, I'm doing the Duolingo because it's gamified and I have to maintain my streak. I feel like AI can help in things like that. Not just that. I feel even with building projects or uh, with respect to everything, there is a new AI feature of from Google that I recently heard about, which can act as a teacher. Like you can just share your screen through it, and it can guide you where you're going wrong or what you have to do to make it better. I feel like that's such a big boon. Like anybody can build anything at this point if they use AI in a proper way. I feel yeah, that's.
I mean, that's true. I mean, coming from your generation, I think it's really advanced, and like, so that you guys have a much better, like, diverse way of using it. I think that's really cool to get all these opinions from you guys, especially because you guys are, like, the front face of AI and the movement of AI right now. So yeah, go on.
Adding up on the points, as Sneha said, told about Duolingo and how Duolingo works. Generally, when you learn from a friend or a person you can trust or some source where they don't question you back on what you're trying to ask them, it's more good for them. Like let's take engineers an example. The night before the exam, we go on ChatGPT, we go on Perplexity, or we go on Blackbox, all of this AI, and we just spam whatever topics are there. We take all the PDFs and put it in one place, and we ask it to reduce the question. So people are learning through ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI, etc., etc. People trust the sources and think them as a friend. So it's helping out them as a friend also. Duolingo again helps you learn languages. It's gamified, it's doing all of this kind of thing, and it's not judging you. When you go to a teacher and ask a stupid question like maybe 23 into 3, or why did the integration of e of x stay e of x, it's not going to explain you. Teacher will say you're stupid. He will not continue explaining you. Rather, you go to your ChatGPT, it'll explain you properly. You go near apps which are AI modified. It doesn't have its own sense of brain to ask you a question. Rather, it'll explain you, and if you don't understand again, it'll explain you again and again and again and again. So that's one benefit of AI learning and all. And coming to how people can improve from AI schools, I would suggest there are lots of parts in the world which have improved health, education system, and AI is generally having a vast data set, and from the data sets only, it's going to provide you with the improved education system. So technically, there is improved education system. AI doesn't have to provide a new one. It's just we have to apply those education system. And if you see in India right now, there are second graders and first graders who are learning about AI, and it's fascinating that people are growing, and actually colleges are thinking that AI is going to be helpful. And right now, prompt engineering and all is helping. And I'm pretty sure half the software engineers right now depend on AI. Thank you.
So talking about the education system in India, it's more generalized. Like they set a bar, and people are expected to sit on that bar. If someone is below the bar, is expected to like level up, and if someone is over the bar, is expected to shrink down. So they set on standard bar. So in that case, when if AI comes in the in action, you can have personalized tutors. Like one person can have a personalized AI tutor for himself. So if he doesn't understand a concept, you can ask AI to like simplify it. Like me myself being a second year engineering student, if there's a concept I didn't understand in my lectures, I go back to ChatGPT. I ask, I literally give the prompt saying, treat me as a 10-year-old and just explain me this concept. It just simplifies, use real world example and explains me everything on how it works. So that way, I use AI in a smart way to understand, and it's a quicker way of thinking. And AI has a lot of time for you because once it becomes personalized, you can. They always your lecturers say you can always reach up to me, but they have their own 24 hours. After that, they'll give you some time, but beyond that, they won't be available. It's not their fault, but in case of AI, it just provides. No matter how long you want to use AI, you can just keep asking questions till you are satisfied with what you want to learn. So in those terms, AI will help education system. So even as I mentioned about the bar smart students, if they want to learn more about the topic, they can use AI to learn more about the topic because all the data is there in AI, most of the data. So this way you can improve education systems using AI. So yeah, this is mine.
Okay, so I think one more big use of AI is that in this fast moving world, nobody has time. Like, I think it's not like the old times. Nobody has time to like sit and search and go through a topic and see where you're lacking. I feel AI is very specific. Like, let's take a small example. So yesterday I solved a problem of HCF and LCM GCD. So when I in programming in Java, so when I exactly asked what I have to do, I got a very particular, precise answer. So I don't have to go back and like search and oh my god, okay, this is it, this is it. I can get one liner, or I can get a 50 word essay, or I can just get 2 words of what I'm expecting. I don't have to like that's the difference I feel. When you study from a book or when you refer to a book, I have to go to the topic, search, again read the whole paragraph to understand. I can just, and now with audio feature in ChatGPT and all of that, you just have to talk like you're talking to a friend. Like, okay, dude, just explain me this. That's all you have to do. So I feel in that way, AI is like really cool, and it'll just like simplify anything and everything. So yeah.
So some people are visual learners, right? And now AI has it can generate images, generate videos, all those things. So if you want something to learn in a visual aspect or in a gamification way, you can ask AI to do that for you. So that way your learning process is faster, and whatever you learn just sits in your head and just never leaves from the other end. So that's also one advantage of using AI in your education system. So
I think these were like really great inputs that you guys gave. I have a slightly controversial question though, based on what you guys said. Do you think AI can replace your teachers and lecturers?
Yes.
That was a straightforward answer. Okay.
Um, I feel like to maintain a proper, I think this generation is it's a two-sided two-sided thing. So I feel like schools and colleges are important because it's very difficult to be disciplined, trust me. Like, you sit at home, people tell you sit at home and you can study everything, but I feel there's a downside. Like, you can't, with everything around, as the technology increases, I feel like the distraction and everything else also increases. But with respect to like bringing in track and staying online, I think teachers play a role. It's not like you can just throw away the occupation of teaching. It's not that. Teachers do play a role, but I think AI just like makes it better. Like, it will give you a like, teachers make a foundation. They give you a foundation. You can build upon it using AI. You don't have to, have teachers to build a building. Like, you understand, right? Like, to have the basic foundation, you need teachers. Like, on what to study, on what exactly to do, maybe teachers are required. But I think in the long run, that won't be the case, and everything will turn virtual.
So regarding the question, the same question was asked in ninth grade CBSE. There was a chapter regarding a robo teacher. So based on that, I'm saying few topics, like we had Corona and we had online lectures and all. So I would say interaction with a human and interaction with an AI is two different things. AI can't make you love a subject or like a topic, whereas a teacher can. I remember my school teacher. His name is Hanmantu sir, and he literally made me in love with physics. I love physics so much. Right now we don't have physics, but still I love the subject so much. So it's all depend on teachers too. So and one more thing, if you're talking about preschools and a school up to an age of like fifth grade or seventh grade, you obviously need teachers. At that age, you guys don't know how AI is going to react. You're not smart enough or you're not mature enough to use AI. So I feel at that moment, you need teacher, you need emotional support. You cannot ask AI for emotional support. If you're an introvert, AI is the best thing for you, but you have to come out of that phase, right? You have to go into the public, you have to talk. The moment you go back into the dark room, again, you're inbounded by four walls. So that's not how it has to be, uh, I think. Thank you.
So, talking based on the question you asked, so when you're talking about gaining knowledge, that's when AI comes in role. You learn new things, learn information. But when it comes to whole over learning experience, that's when you need your teachers, your lecturers, because they understand emotions. Learning is not just gaining information. Learning is like it. There's a emotions play a role too. So in that case, teachers are important. In your thing, they make you understand. They make you like understand the topic based on the emotions. So even if you're a slow learner or fast learner, they make you like they have the patience to like tolerate you and uh, make sure you understand, so that they want you to upscale. But AI is a thing. You ask AI only when you know that you need to learn something. You go towards AI. But in terms of teachers, they know you need to be knowing this. So that's why I feel AI won't replace the teachers, because education system require teachers and people.
This brings me to my next question. I think you guys had solid inputs on what to say and how to go about it. since you said AI, some of you said AI won't replace teachers. Some of you said that, we as people need to go and interact with the AI. And only then will we have a better understanding of how it can help us. And some of you said no directly. And I really appreciate the straightforward answer. Um, However, I would also like to ask you, who do you think should be in charge of AI? So let's say we are using AI for a social cause or for some kind of social good, education, healthcare, society. But who do you think should be in charge of it? Should there be like a person who is making sure that it all runs smoothly, or should it go according to constitutional law, or what do you think?
I'll just
Okay, can you like?
So I mean to say, in simple words, do you think AI should be free for all, or should it be under one government unity that runs it and has a say over what happens with it?
Okay, so I feel like see if it is not under control, I feel it can go in a very wrong way. If it nothing can be in the right path if if it is not controlled. So I feel like there should be a set of rules and regulations and set of rights with respect to AI, like suppose privacy and what content it can take from you or how much it can take. Like all that has to be under control. You can't just give away all your personal data. I feel if AI is not like controlled and if it doesn't have a set of rules on what it can take and what it cannot, I feel like data is just simply it'll just like go away and like you won't feel that you won't have a secure feeling about what you're actually giving in. I think that was also a thing with the latest controversy, right? With respect to ChatGPT and DeepSeek, on what kind of data it is taking and why is it taking so much data and where is the data getting going. So I think all that has to be mentioned while you're using an AI.
So yeah, that brings me back to my question as to, do you think there should be one governing body for it, or should everyone have access to what's happening around with it? So like, let's say that you present your data. Should I be able to have transparency to see how you're using it, or do you think there should be one entity who will have transparency to see how you're using it?
I feel like there should not be a proper thing about what I'm searching and how am I searching, but like it can just have an overall view. Like suppose maybe if I'm asking about math or history, it can just come under the heading of history and not exactly what I'm searching for. That will be, I think, too much.
You're saying it should form clusters instead of
Yeah,
going in.
it just form groups on what you're actually searching, but not like exactly on what topic and why and all of that.
Okay, got it.
Be honest, after hearing her thoughts, I think there should be an entity, and I think they should have access on what we are going through and all. But the entity should be neutral and not judge people or have this kind of thing. Because most of the data which we are getting back in ChatGPT is the data we provided. So the moment you are not providing the data and ChatGPT is not recognizing your data, it's again gone. It's not an entity where you're getting back the data. And in terms of neutralness and why I say there should be an entity controlling it, in terms of DeepSeek, right now it's controlled by Chinese entity, and you may not trust them. And then again, ChatGPT is again controlled by another entity, and you cannot trust those people also. So if you give it for one single entity, I think a neutral entity can modify there should be few rules. Like you can't just search up saying that there's a 30 kg chicken fallen in my room. I want to dispose the chicken. Obviously, that's a crime scene. Okay, so people have to get to know about it. You cannot fool AI. You can fool an AI, but you can't fool a human being. So that should be a neutral entity who controls most of the things. But there should be a remit of controlling. There should be rules and regulations, and there should be change of things. And maybe all the knowledge should not be public, but certain knowledge, let it be public. Thank you.
Yeah, like Tarun said, I prefer there should be one single entity taking care of AI operation, because they can set some policy terms based on privacy and all those things. Because AI is what it is because of the information you provide. Like for example, your Instagram reels, the algorithm set in Instagram reels and shorts and all those things. It's the information you give, it's the things you have watched, which decides the algorithm. So based on that, if you that's your privacy, your personal information. You're providing your personal information out in the abyss. You don't know where it's going. So if you have one entity taking care of all this operation, you know that one entity is responsible for all your personal information. So if anything goes wrong, I mean, saying nothing will go wrong, but is this based on the policy terms they set? So based on the thing about privacy, yeah, we were talking privacy. So if you have one single entity taking care of it, I think it'll be good enough that way.
Understood. Okay. Rihaan, you have anything to say about this?
I agree with what they both said. A single entity should have control, and it should be a neutral party. That's all.
Okay. So again, coming to a neutral party, it's tough to have a neutral party in this, non-linear world right now. So what are your thoughts on, like, a neutral party? What would be like, a considerate neutral party according to you that could govern the AI? Can you give me, like, some specifications of what this governing entity should be like?
A little bit of government staff and a little bit of like citizens, so they would have like a neutral, they would be like mixed together, so that means there would be feedback from both the sides of the government and the citizens of the country.
To be honest, neutral entity, if you come for this world, it's not a utopia where everything is actually how it has to happen and everything goes good. If I want to say what is a neutral entity, it should not be a pair of citizens and a pair of politicians. Then again, citizens turn into politicians, so it's not ideal for them to go into politics. So I would say they to be those engineers who created it and people who have in this kind of scenario, you can take example of Mark Zuckerberg and his case about data privacy and how Facebook used to take data, and Mark Zuckerberg himself felt bad for he taking the privacy of other people. I would say maybe you can keep a server which has all the data, and there are very few people who can access it, like the most top order. Maybe not everybody, and government should not even get to know about this in the first place until there's an emergency. I would not like government to be involved in this.
So you're saying a centralized server without any governance?
No, I would say government to be involved, but until there's a proper case, like again, as example, until there is something related to crime or something related to breaking rules, if you are just searching about school and all, I don't think there should be needing of any government entities in this kind of thing. So it's not like you can elect a person also. AI is a very big thing. You need a smart person for that. So I would say there should be a council of smart people who just go through it, and maybe they can change every single year or so, or few years they can just change, and they may have the data, and it's not a utopia. Again, as I told, there is no neutral entity in the end. You can just imagine them, but you cannot have it.
Got it.
So I have two opinions on this. One, government entities can have the neutral access to the AI part, because you have already given all your personal information about what you are to the government. So there's no harm in giving a little bit more about what you search for and what other things you search for in AI. But in the second opinion, which I was talking about, you can have the agencies which created AI to have the neural access, because they know how it functions. They are the people who created it. So the search, they can also add on to the privacy of what you're searching for and all those things. So but at the end, I think government should be having the neural access.
I think those were some really impressive thoughts from all of you. This would conclude our panel discussion from Bengaluru. Thank you so much for your thoughtful opinions. I think a lot of people gained a lot of insight, and also it sparked a lot of thoughts in a lot of people across the world. And good job, guys. I think you guys are the future of how AI would work, and I really wish you guys all the best. Thank you, guys. This is Abhiram signing off from Bengaluru.
To help our communities, our workers record sentences in their mother tongue on their smartphones. And for the simple task, we pay them nearly 20 times the Indian minimum wage. And that leads to a data set, so they keep on making royalties every single time those data sets are resold.
I think it is imperative that if we are changing someone's income structure in this way, that we also need to help them understand financial literacy.
आज सगळ्यांना आपल्याला आर्थिक साक्षरता शिकण्यासाठी मी इथे आहे. आणि आपण हे कार्य ॲप मधून करणार आहोत.
रमेश आणि कल्पेश हे दोघेही रोजंदारीचे बांधकाम मजूर होते.
मी कधी ऐकलं नव्हतं मी माझा आवाज कधीच ऐकलं नव्हता की त्या कार्याकडनं मला त्या ऍप मुळे माझा आवाज कसा आहे हे मला माहित पडलं आणि त्याच्यामधून शिकायला पण भेटलं बँकिंगचं याचं कर्ज कसं घ्यायचं ती कशी बचत करायची मुलांच्या नावावर FD कशा करायच्या हे खूप खूप शिकलो. आम्हाला आता कुणाची गरज नाही की ATM मध्ये जायचंय आणि पैसे त्यांनी काढून आणून द्यावेत असं नाही आम्ही स्वतः करू शकतो. मला खूप आनंद वाटतो मला खरंच गर्व वाटतो की माझा आवाज कुठेतरी कोणतरी ऐकणार आहे आणि मी मराठीत बोलले त्याच्यामुळे कोणीतरी शिकणार आहे मला अभिमान वाटतो.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Let us get started. So, hi everyone. My name is Manu. I am the co-founder of Kayra. Kayra, of course, for everyone watching, is the Sanskrit word for work that gives you dignity. And that is the mission that we are on. We think deeply about ways AI can bring dignified digital work to low-income communities across the global south. India, of course, is very close to my heart. It's where I was born. It's where I live. I live in Bangalore. And I think many people may already know, India has 230 million people living in poverty as per government numbers. And that is the largest number of poor people living in any country in the world. And that's something that we need to fix. Today, it would take an average poor person in India 7 generations of labor to get to $1,500 in savings, right? That means that an average low-income person in the country will have to work for 200 years just to get to $1,500 in savings in their bank account, which is considered the economic threshold of middle class, right? That's where middle class starts. So today, the pathway from being low income to being middle class is over 200 years. And that's obviously unacceptable, right? And the question for us becomes very quickly, can we use AI to somehow fix that, right? Can we use AI to bring dignified digital work to rural Indians and also, of course, to low income communities across the world, wherever there's a need of work and there's a need of supplementary income, right? What we discovered, we started this work back in 2017 when I graduated and I joined Microsoft Research. And we discovered that tech companies like Google and Microsoft are spending billions of dollars building training data sets for their AI models, right? So to train an AI model, it's like training a child. You have to give it a lot of training data. You have to tell it time and again what sort of patterns it needs to look for. And companies are willing to pay off a lot of money for that data. And the question for us was, can we bring that money that these companies are willing to spend directly to the communities that we engage with? And in the process, bring them earning opportunities and learning opportunities, right? The way it works is very simple. A company like Microsoft or Google, or any of the tech companies we'll work with, will reach out to Kayra and say, hey, I need 10,000 hours of Marathi data. You just saw this video where Baby Tai was talking about how she taught the computer, she taught her AI model how to speak Marathi by just speaking to the phone, right? So all what we will do is we will take this big task that Microsoft may have given us, like collecting 10,000 hours of data in Marathi, and we will distribute it to our workers in rural India who have smartphones. Today, 78% of rural Indian households have access to a smartphone. So we're able to use that underlying digital infrastructure to pay them really high wages. And we're able to pay our workers nearly 20 to 50 times the Indian minimum wages, which means they make anywhere from $5 an hour to $25 an hour, right? In India, the minimum wage is little over 19 cents an hour. So these wages can be potentially transformative. And these high wages enable lots of exciting outcomes for our communities. The story closest to my heart is the story of one of the workers we first worked with. She came from a community with no internet, and this was her very first time seeing a smartphone. In fact, I remember distinctly one of the first things she said was, "Iske andar Surya Dev hai, or is the sun god inside this?" Because in the community they had not seen like a backlit display before, right? And I kid you not, just 30 minutes later, she figured out how to use a smartphone. For all the people watching, like and hearing this, smartphones are pretty easy to use. We all know that, right? It's very intuitive. And within her first week, she made like over 10,000 rupees doing this work. Within her first month, she made more money than her parents had made all of last year. and that enabled her to become the first girl from her community to go to college, which is super exciting, right? So I think at Karya, we think deeply about how do we build data sets that are owned by our workers. So all our data sets are not owned by the companies that we license these data sets to or by us. They're owned in principle by our workers, which means whenever this data gets resold, our workers actually make money. They get 100% of the royalties again, which allows them to actually keep making money doing this work, which is really, really important for us to build an ethical AI future, right? We built on peer-reviewed research. I am a researcher. We spent 5 years at Microsoft Research just doing research. We published over half a dozen papers on how a model like this could work, which was really interesting and fun. The model itself is open source, which allows our partners in Kenya and Ethiopia to take it and run with it, which is really exciting. And it works without internet. It doesn't require English. It doesn't require internet. And that allows our communities anywhere, even in places with very little internet, to actually do this work, which is super exciting. We've been doing this now as an organization. So Karya story is 2017 to 2022. We were just doing research. 2023 was the year we spun out and became an independent organization. In the last 2 years, we have brought these high wages to over 100,000 people that now live in every single district in every single state in India, which is super exciting. And these people have done more than 42 million tasks for our clients like Google and Microsoft. So I think that to me is a very exciting way to think about what sort of economic opportunity AI is going to enable and how do we bring these economic opportunities to our people, right? If we take a step back, look, AI is going to create trillions of dollars of wealth. We all know it, right? But what percentage of that wealth is going to actually come to the communities that we all care about, right? What percentage of those opportunities are going to come to the people that we really, really care about? And how do we make sure that we think of low income communities as just low income communities, not low talent communities, right? Talent is universal, opportunity is not, right? So how do we think systematically about making sure that our communities are centered in the AI revolution? I think that's really, really, really important. This is a story from one of our first field visits. That's me in the middle. That's my co-founder Vivek. And that's Chavi Rajawat. If some Indians may know her, she was the first female sarpanch. Sarpanch is an elected head of a village. She was the first female elected head of a village for any village in this area of the country, which is predominantly a very difficult area, has one of the highest female infanticide rates, and so on and so forth. And this is the photo. I can see everyone's really happy after we did payouts. Like, so back in the day, before digital payments kicked in, we used to actually pay it cash. This is 7 years ago. And it's one of those, I really love this photo just because of just how happy everyone in the photo is. And look, I think at the end of the day, if you can change who has wealth in our society, you can change who has power, right? We have systematically built a world where it is easier for some people to make money than others, right? Access to financial information, access to like, how do I make money? How do I save money? What is a fixed deposit? How do I go to the bank? All of this information is easier for some people, like people whose parents are entrepreneurs, because the parents will tell you that, and harder for other people, right? So when we have to build an equitable world, when we have to build a fair world, we have to think deeply about how do we redistribute these opportunities and how do we make sure that people understand that low income communities are not just excellent beneficiaries of AI. So yes, they will use ChatGPT and Gemini in their local languages. They're also excellent builders of AI, right? Like they can actually build these AI models like you saw Baby Thai doing. If you go to the Computer History Museum in Mountain View, which is like the mecca of all computer science museums, you have Baby Thai's photo on the same wall as Alan Turing, right? Because they're both builders of AI, right? They're both people who have spent their time, their intelligence contributing to this larger revolution we are in right now, right? And I think deeply about how do we make sure technology isn't just something that happens to us, right? For people in the global south, people in India, all over the world, actually, technology is just something that happens to us, right? Tech takes our job away. technology makes it easier to do something, but it very rarely comes from us, right? And that's what technology should do. It should come from us, for us, and that's the mission that we're on at Karya. We're chasing three key impacts, basically, which is the earning opportunities impact, so paying our workers as many wages as possible and enabling more stories like the one of Reshma I just told you. Second is learning opportunities, teaching our workers across the country what are the jobs of the future and preparing them for these jobs. And most importantly, when we employ our communities in the process of building these AI models, the models work better for them, right? They become more inclusive. We're doing this very exciting project with the Gates Foundation where we're employing 30,000 low income women to build gender intentional AI, to build AI that is not misogynistic. And to me, that is just like common sense, right? If you want to build inclusive AI, you have to employ the communities you want to include. And at the end of the day, AI is going to create a lot of new jobs. And our goal is to bring those jobs to our people. So today, for the communities that we work with, they're able to get to that $1,500 in savings in 7 months of work, right? And to me, that is super exciting that we can go from 7 generations to 7 months to hopefully the next time I speak with you, 7 hours, right? And I think that there is a scope here of training our communities to receive very, very high wages by doing the work of the future and in the process making sure that technology works for all of us, not just for the few people who speak English or the few people who live in San Francisco and Bangalore, but for everyone, irrespective of where they're born. Technology should be a force that amplifies your intent and capacity and doesn't substitute it, right? I think I want to take a minute to talk a little bit about the AI for good space in general. The space is incredible. Look, AI is a very powerful technology. I think many people would agree it's the most powerful technology of our generation. So we have to use it to really help people and think deeply about how do we use AI as a force of good. I wanted to platform a few of my amazing friends who I really, really look up to. I don't know how many people here know Amrita Mahale at Arman. Amrita is building an AI chatbot to prevent, to make at-risk pregnancies easier. So she's built a chatbot in local Indian languages where women who are pregnant can ask questions about medical advice, get connected to doctors, and they've already scaled it to tens of thousands of people. Utsav at Rocket Learning is building a AI tutor for parents to better help teach their children over WhatsApp, and we actually get to work with Utsav on this, which is quite fun. Samin from Gramhal is thinking about information asymmetry, right? If you think deeply, so much of the inequity we see in the world is because of information asymmetry, which is I know more than you know, or you know more than I know because of our experiences in life, right? What I believe is that AI can potentially fix information asymmetry forever because it can bring information to people in their local languages. And what Samin is doing is specifically looking at information asymmetry in the agriculture space, right? It may seem very obvious to you, but this is like for example, for a farmer when they're building their crop and they spend their entire 6 months, 1 year getting the crop ready, they actually don't know what the market price is for that crop. And oftentimes they will go to the market and people will lie to them and say this is the market price, and then these middlemen will take the crop like the raw material at a low price and then jack it up and sell it to somebody else, right? So Simin's idea was, can I just tell the farmers where to sell their crop at and what's the best price to sell it as and sell it at? Like what's the going rate? Can I fix that information asymmetry? And she is doing this in the in the fields of Madhya Pradesh and central India already, right? And I think that fundamentally AI will allow us to fix information asymmetry, create a world where everyone has access to the kind of information that they need, and at the same time bring a lot of earning opportunities to our communities. At Karya, we're on a mission to make sure that we're able to bring AI enabled earning and learning opportunities to everyone. And we think deeply about how AI will be this force of good. But for that, we have to actually act, right? Like nothing just happens by default. If we don't do anything, nothing will happen, right? Like the last 10 technological waves skipped low income communities across the global south. And then, of course, 10, 15 years after it came to the West, it came to other countries, right? We cannot let that happen with AI. And it's very, very important that rural Indians, low income communities are at the center of the AI revolution. And that's our mission. And that's my time, I think. Thank you so much. I hope I was useful, but really appreciate this opportunity.